Hey guys, welcome to my video, How to Survive Year 12 Exams Without Completely Losing Your Mind. Now I know a lot of you at the moment are feeling very stressed. You've got your first exam coming up very soon and you're worried about how you're going to cope and how you're going to survive the exam season. If this is you, keep watching for 5 handy tips. Tip number 1, pace yourself with your study. I think a lot of people think that this is a race to the finish line and they've got to do as much study as they possibly can before the exam hits, but this is one of the worst things that you can do. It's just not sustainable. You can't study for hours and hours on end and have your brain work effectively. Our brains are just not built like that. Instead, I suggest studying in 20 to 30 minute blocks, unless you're doing a practice exam, and then have a 5 to 10 minute break afterwards. This way, you're giving yourself the best chance of absorbing the information and remembering it later on when you're in the exam. Tip number 2, enjoy your study breaks. So when you're having a break from study, I really want you to do something that you find enjoyable or relaxing. I don't want you to sit there in front of your textbooks looking at the ceiling and thinking, oh, I really need to get back to study soon. Instead, get out of your study or get out of the library or get out of the place where you're sitting down and looking at your books and do something completely different from that. Have some stretches, talk to a friend, eat a snack, do something that really switches it up. Tip number 3, have a study curfew. This means that you cut off study at a particular time of night. I suggest doing this at least an hour before bed to give yourself the best chance of having a restful sleep. You are studying, you're under a high amount of stress at the moment. Sleep is so important for you to recharge so that you're feeling fresh for the next exam or the next day that you're doing revision work. So switch off the study, shut the books, turn it off, and then do something really relaxing before bedtime, whether that's watching an episode of your favorite TV show, talking to a friend, or reading a non-study related book. Tip number 4, do not study the morning of the exam. I know that we want to squash as much information in our brains before we're tested on a particular subject, but in my experience, it's the worst thing that you can do to open your textbooks the morning of the exam. I think that just stresses you out. You look at all the stuff you don't know and you're like, oh no, I don't know this, I don't know that. And you just get yourself into a mighty tears before you need to sit down and really focus. So instead, have a nice breakfast, have a long shower, do a meditation, do things that make you feel calm the morning of the exam rather than stressing yourself out with all that you don't know. Lastly, tip number 5, what to do if you have a major freak out while you're studying. My biggest tip is just take a break in that moment. If you're sitting down and you're trying to study and you're like, I don't know anything, I'm going to fail my exams, I'm not going to get the ATAR I need to get into university, take a break. Put down the textbook and step away from the computer. Get away from it. I think it's important to have an hour-long break when that happens to allow yourself to break down and then build yourself back up again. There's nothing wrong with having a freak out. If anything, you should let it come on and then pass by. If you try and fight the freak out, sometimes it just comes on stronger. So allow yourself to be stressed out, but within a limited time period. Okay, I'm going to stress out. I'm going to give myself an hour-long break to just let it out, have a cry, have a stress out, and then I'm going to get back to the textbooks. Try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So those are my 5 tips about how to survive exams without completely losing your mind. Now, I think it's really important to remember that although your schools are putting a lot of pressure on you to excel in your Year 12 exams and get excellent ATARs, if you don't get the ATAR that you want or need for the course, there are always pathways to get to university. A lot of people that I know have taken different pathways and have felt like they've really benefited from them. So don't put yourself under too much pressure, do the best you can, and don't forget to reach out for support if you feel like you need it. Best of luck.